Hi friends, this is Aparna from Aparna's Green Garden. This video is for those who think is home composting worth our time or not, and can we do it very easily at home. So I will show it. It's very easy to do at home and it doesn't have any foul smell. So now I will show you today how easily we can do composting at home. Now let's get started. For composting, all you need is bins with some closed lids on it, that is a bin with a lid on it, and some greens and some browns and an activator. With this you are good to go for composting. Now for container, you have variety of choices available. You can reuse any plastic containers which are available in your home which has some lid on it, or you can take some earthen pot, or you can go for the plastic drums or anything, whichever is readily accessible to you. Now here I have used some old plastic container and I have drilled holes on it on all the sides and as well as on the underneath the bottom. Now with this is the selection of container. Next is when you say kitchen greens, I am providing the list of greens which you can decompose and which you can use it for your compost bin, and the things which you cannot use for the compost bin, that is the things which are not degradable, you cannot put them in your compost bin. And next, coming to your browns, when you say browns, the dry materials are called browns. These dry materials can be variety of things like newspapers, some cardboard boxes, or dry leaves, and your spent flowers. These are all called as browns. They are rich in carbon content, whereas your fresh green material, that is your kitchen scraps, are rich in nitrogen content. And we need some activator. Now regarding this activator, I will talk little later. Now if you see in what ratio should you mix this kitchen greens and these browns, for 1 part of the kitchen waste we should always use 2 parts of brown waste. So with this, why we do need to use this kind of proportion, that for that when next subsequent when you are discussing the problems related to the composting, we will discuss in that what would happen if you don't maintain this 1:2 ratio. We will discuss in those. But let's say for composting purposes, now if I am taking 1 part of kitchen waste, I am going to take 2 parts of brown waste into my compost bin. Now here I have already started initially in this, so I will show you further continuation to this. Here I am layering up with some brown leaves and spent flowers on this. And when you are taking kitchen scraps, please note that your kitchen scraps should not be like this lump of kitchen vegetables. You should have some cut pieces like this. So at least if you cut them roughly in 2 inch by 2 inch size or 1 inch by 1 inch size, you should be able to decompose them pretty soon. So now here I am taking 1 part of kitchen waste. Then this is day 1 compost. Now let's say I am doing it again day 2. Again day 2 I am covering with some more browns here. I can even use this shredded newspaper clippings, shredded newspapers also. Again cover my greens. Now again I am layering with my kitchen compost. This is your day 2. Now after this I need to add something which will enable the composting process. So for that you have, when you say enable the composting process, you have 2-3 options in that. One is you can add some red wriggly worms, that is your earthworms, which will make compost for you. As they eat, they will digest the food and their excrete is what turns into compost. So you can use red wriggly worms in it, or you can add some microbe powder which are readily available in your online platforms. Or here I have easy and cheap and best solution, that is sour curd, which is readily available in our houses. You can use this because the sour curd has lots of microorganisms which will kickstart the composting process. So now what I will do is, once I have started my composting process, I'll just add few tablespoons of curds in it. So now that I have added, do I need to add this curd every day? No, definitely not. Once you start this process, there is no necessity of adding this accelerator every day. Once you kickstart the process, all you need to do is add your greens, add your add your browns day by day until you fill the tub until 70% or 80%. Apart from this, all you have to do is we have to keep turning the compost pile, because we said that this is an aerobic composting. The compost pile needs fresh air in order to accelerate the composting process. So what I have to do, all I have to do is just mix this compost pile every 4 or 5 days in order to incorporate air into this compost bin. So once you are done, you can just close the lid for that day and you can keep it aside. Now once the bin is 70% or 80% full, all you have to do is you have to let that container sit for a month or 2 depending on the conditions and the season then and then. Now after I close this lid and keep it for a month or 2, you will notice that compost will start happening. After you sieve, you can just see how fine the compost looks. It doesn't have any bad smell or any kind of original ingredients which we have used. It just looks fine textured, and this is how a perfect compost would look like. The common problems associated when we are doing composting is, first one would be flies. The compost pile attracts unwanted pests and insects, that is like fruit flies, and it attracts sometimes rats. So for this, what is the solution? The solution is, after you have covered your kitchen scrape, all you have to do is just cover it with a layer of browns on your fresh green vegetable peels. Second alternative would be, you can cover this compost pile with a newspaper or cloth on it. I'll just show you how. You can simply take a newspaper like this and just cover it like this. See, I can just simply cover it with compost pile with a newspaper or a cloth like this. Then this will also avoid unwanted insects like this. And then you can close this container with the lid. Since right now I am showing you this and I have opened my container, it has attracted lots of flies. But otherwise, when you close this and cover it with a newspaper or a cloth, there will not be any flies around it. Apart from this, you can also drop 1 or 2 drop of essential oil on the container lid of this. That will also discourage the flies getting attracted to this. This is the first problem. Second problem would be, sometimes there is a problem with rats if you are living in independent houses. At that point of time, you can keep this bin in some elevated on some elevated containers like this, with or on some stands or on high raised walls where the rats or rodents cannot touch this bin and disturb this bin. This will be with respect to your unwanted pests and insects. Another common problem which we would notice is the black liquid oozing out from the holes whichever we have drilled on the containers. This would be because we have put more amount of fresh kitchen scrapes into this and less amount of dry material into our bins. So we all know that the fresh material contains lot of water, and dry materials contain less water, because of which when it is decomposing, the fresh materials would have generated lot of water and it would have left out lot of water, and because of that our compost pile becomes too soggy and wet. Because of that, excess water would be coming out from the holes whichever we have drilled. So in order to avoid this, what we can do is we can simply add more amount of dry material into it. That is, all you have to do is add more amount of dry leaves or paper or your cardboard boxes. All these are your dry materials. So all you have to do is just add more amount of dry leaves and just simply turn the compost pile. All you have to do is just make sure the compost pile is turned, and then you will notice that after 2-3 days the moisture would have been absorbed by the dry leaves. This is your leachate oozing out. Apart from this, sometimes you will also notice that you are getting a foul smell from the compost pile. This is also because of you are having improper ratio of your fresh material versus your dry material. Like earlier said, your fresh material is so much that it started leaving out lot of water into the compost pile, and the compost pile has become so soggy. That is why it will start smelling and it will start stinking very bad. So the solution for that is also adding lots of dry leaves into that, and at that stage I would suggest that you stop adding your kitchen waste into your bin. First turn the pile like this and then add lots of dry leaves into it and leave it for a day or two without adding any more fresh waste into this. That should solve your bad smell problem. So apart from that, sometimes people notice some maggots. Right now I'm not able to find anything here. Some maggots, some kind of black insects in this. So with respect to that, please don't worry, they are your friends. See, I have something like this here. These are in the initial stages of your maggots. So there you have got nothing to worry about this, because these are the good insects which will help in your decomposing process. So it's fine with that. Now that we have talked about the problems and their solutions, these are the compost bins which I have at my home. This is a DIY which I made it, and if you notice, this is almost at 70% of its it's a composting stage. Probably it will be ready in few more days, and this is the second edition. And now the first bin whichever I harvested is what I have shown you right now. The second bin is almost to its full. Now I will be stopping the composting and adding more waste into that. This is all about the composting. Please do try composting at home in the bins whichever are available for you. Happy composting.